Okay, so what am I doing right now? I'm actually in the middle of a forest at night again. It's about 8 o'clock or so, around there, 8:30 time. It's just got dark right now. Now the idea of this video and this actual enterprise is that I went to Peak District not long ago. I did some walking on there, decided to take a track that I'd never been down before, not hard because I've not done a lot of treks, and ended up at the bottom of one of the steepest hills I've ever seen, knowing that my car was at the top of that hill, about 1.5 miles away. And looking up at it, I thought, if I try and climb that, there's a real danger that I'm going to fall down and hurt myself bad. Now, it was around about 5 o'clock time at that time, a couple of weeks ago, and it occurred to me that I may have to consider actually stopping the night here. And I had to ask myself what provisions I'd got for actually stopping the night there. So anyway, it was a serious question that I had to ask myself at that time. And although at the time I got back really no problem at all, my car was only 1.5 miles away, and there was about 2 hours more daylight, so I got back in plenty of time. But I did for the first time really stop and think, what would I do first? If I decided now that it'd be too dark to carry on, what would I do first? And the question kind of worried me for quite a while, and I started thinking about it at home. And so I started preparing what's called a day pack for the eventuality of having to spend an unplanned for stop at night. And quite frankly, that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm doing here now. I'm actually practicing for such an event. I'm actually right now about 2 miles away from home, so I'm not like far away from home, but I am far enough so that if I need, that I'm well out in the woods and can't be seen by anybody, but I am near enough so that if I need to get home because this really isn't working out, then I can get home. And first thing you can see is this has got a fire going there. Now, it's actually illegal to have a forest in a national forest, but what I've done is I've actually put this into a baking tray, the kind of baking tray that you use for your turkey. It's disposable after you've used it, and so that's keeping that off the ground, because at the end of the day, this, in real terms, I wouldn't really be doing that with a baking tray, because I wouldn't take a baking tray with me. But in real terms, this is a simulated one, so I'm using a baking tray to prevent any kind of forest fire or any spreading of the fire that I don't particularly want to happen. So this is my safety bit. So this is what I'm actually doing out here right now. Okay, now I'm just going to stop for a second. Now that is my fire. As you can see, it is in a baking tray there. If anybody actually comes along, I've got another baking tray right here that I can actually drop on top, so that nobody can actually see much of the fire here, and I can put it out when I want. Behind me, you might just be able to see, is the nearest thing you can see to a tube of silver. You can't really make it out that much, and the idea is it's got a piece of string running through it, a piece of cord running through it, tied to 2 trees, and the idea is that you actually crawl in between into this tube and you spend the night. And the idea of the reflective surface is it reflects heat back at you so you don't get cold, and that's what we've got so far. I've got plenty of water with me. I actually do carry 2 litres of water in a kind of a bladder that's in a rucksack, and I've got some food which is like packet soup and beef jerky as well, and a thing to add to water to make it into a juice. So I've got plenty to eat right now. I've even got stuff that I would carry on me in a day pack anyway, but we'll see how that's going to work. I'm going to have to tend the fire. The fire's going out. So that didn't take a lot of doing. That's about 5 minutes after. Now I've got a really rip-roaring fire there, but what we're more after than that is actually embers, because that will burn very quickly. I'm starting to lose control here. Let's put that out. Put that out as well. Put that out as well. So that's my fire going. It's actually pretty warm out here. The fire was relatively easy to light. I've got like wood all over the place here without actually having to stand up and gather and stuff. It's just that time of season, just after autumn, when a lot of the leaves, lots of branches are broken down and just dried out. So it's quite nice. What I'm really after though is, you can see how flamey this is. I want it to die down into a kind of embers fire rather than be like this huge fire in front of myself. I don't like the attention it would draw, although it is lovely and warm. So this is where we are so far. Anyway, the point of the exercise is to sort of see if we can survive the night. The idea now is I'm actually doing quite well for the actual simulation, because I haven't really eaten anything since 12 o'clock today, so I'm getting pretty hungry here. So in a bit I'm going to have to do some food, and that's going to be soup, and then I'll eat some beef jerky. I've got no sugary stuff. I've got some Kendal mint cake on order. It hasn't arrived yet. I would have actually eaten that as well to keep my sugar intake up. The idea, as I understand it, is to keep the proteins high and the sugar intake high, that will actually keep you warm throughout the night, and not just the fire. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing now. Hey-o, it's now about 20 to 10 at night. You can see, I don't know whether you can see that, my fire is still going brightly. I've had chicken soup, powdered chicken soup, and now I've got powdered hot chocolate to eat. It's slowly cooking, warming up. After this I'll probably go to bed. I haven't really said anything, but it is a really nice night out here tonight. You can see the stars up there, like I'm pointing, like you can see where it is. You can see the stars out. It's not a bit of wind out here at all. So all is going well. One of the main lessons I've learnt so far is it would be really handy to have a head torch, because there's a lot of jobs that you can kind of do better with two hands than you can with one. While you've got one hand using a torch and the other hand trying to do stuff, it makes it really awkward. So head torch, that's what's going to go in the pack next, I suppose. And other than that, everything is really fine. Now I'll take you through some of the stuff that I've actually got here. I've mentioned the actual silver tube I'm going to be sleeping in tonight, but I also got a tarpaulin. Now, the tarpaulin is only a metre by metre, which means it can't really be of any use except to actually sit on. But with this, it'll hold the main part of my body on there and help keep me warm from the actual ground when I put it in the actual sleeping, what we're calling a thing. Another thing that I've got here is, I don't know whether you can see that, a glow stick. That's a glow stick. Now it's quite a handy piece of equipment, because that will slowly glow away for the next 12 hours. So even if both lights failed, I'd still have something here to glow, to actually sort of like give me some light, although it won't be much. That eventually will be joining me back inside the actual silver tube thing. So one of the things I also have noticed is that it takes an incredible amount of effort to keep a fire going. You think you just light a fire and walk away from it, but you leave a fire alone too long and oops, it's gone out again, oops, it's going out. So you've got to forever be rebuilding the thing all the time. I've been trying to get bigger and bigger pieces to put on it. The idea is that the bigger the piece, the more it will actually sort of heat up to the temperature of fire, and it acts as a kind of like a coal to keep the fire going all night. And then all you need to do is keep putting thin sticks and little branches on it, and it will actually just keep it working. because it's like the inside of this particular fire is, I don't know whether you can see that, is kind of glowing, which is kind of exactly what I'm after there. It makes me wonder just how many people have actually tried to do this at night. With all the sort of like safety equipment that they've actually got. I've never really seen a video of let's have a simulated survival night. There must be people that have done it, but the best way to experience this is actually do it, I suppose. And so here I am actually doing it. Ooh, this is all done on my camera, by the way. There's very little light actually on the camera. Actually, there is a light on the camera that I might put on, but it will only shoot forward with it. Yeah. Everything is really, really very nice here. I've seen a couple of cyclists about an hour ago kind of fly by. I think they must have seen me, but they really didn't pay any attention to me and just carried on their way. I can't really see anybody else turning up tonight. Now the idea is, I said, that I'm not really supposed to do this. I can't imagine anybody would really complain about it, but you're not, especially not supposed to have a fire. So first thing in the morning when the day gets light, it's pack up time and get out of here before anybody actually starts going walking around with the dogs, going around on the bikes, or possibly even wardens. Do you know, I've never actually seen a warden walking in these forests before in my life, in all the walks that I've done. Maybe they exist, but maybe they don't. I think possibly it's up to other people to contact them and say there's a stranger in the woods, there's lit a fire, and you need to go and put it out. But other than that, nobody's really here to bother you at all. I can't say I'm suffering from any kind of cold here. The fire's kept me warm, but it's not a windy or a rainy night, so that kind of simulation of a cold night kept warm by all this equipment really isn't counting too much. So you can't have everything. Wouldn't it be a lot better if I was wet through and when you got in and freezing cold? That would be a really test, that would. But no, it's not. It's actually quite a nice night. I don't think I have anything else to tell you yet. Okay, I'll talk to you later.